Life isn't fair, according to this guy named Rad Mage. And in his thumbnail, he says nobody cares. The funny part is, apparently, this guy is in his mid 40s and he's acting like an emo kid. So let's see what he has to say about life.
Hello, I'm David, and the world is a cold and indifferent place. You can do everything right and still fail. You can sacrifice, spend your time, your money,
But you can also do everything wrong and still get ahead in life. You just got to play your cards right.
your effort, and pour those.
So, little bit of personal experience here. I technically did a lot of things wrong in life, right? Like, I fucked around in high school. My grades in college were ass. Like, I got put on academic suspension and everything. And I graduated with like a 2.4 GPA in communications, which is also a trash major. But I still managed to figure things out in life, right? Like, I run my own little logistics agency, and even after payroll and whatnot, I'm making around mid to high 100K a year or 100,000 a year, somewhere in that ballpark after all expenses. So even with my poor background and coming from a lower middle class family, I still kind of managed to pick myself up by the bootstraps. And now I have the luxury of being able to do this on the side and see if I can build a social media following. So show me some love, if anything, for at least being the person to go against this whole dumb argument of doing everything right but still failing in life. Because if you're doing everything right, then you should be figuring it out. So, but let's continue. Let's continue.
Those things, everything you have, into something or someone, and it just won't fucking matter. People will take from you, the world will take from you, and use you, and forget you even existed. Life isn't fair, and life was never fair. There is no justice and no karmic balance in the world. You can just be left dead in a ditch. You can be exploited and discarded and left behind. And the world won't even blink or think about your passing. It just keeps moving on without you. And people aren't always malicious about this, but they don't care the way you think they should care. Not really. And they can't. They're not capable of it. Your suffering is just an abstract concept to them. Unless someone has lived through something.
I can't believe these are the words coming out of a guy in their mid 40s. Holy crap. This is something I'd expect from like some kid in their teens, even early to mid 20s that's become disillusioned with college, but like holy crap.
Their empathy lacks depth and is just a surface level thing at best. They might say the right words at the right times or nod as if they have some sort of understanding at the right moment, but they don't really get it, and they can't, and they probably never will. And that's the truth that most people just don't want to accept. Some things in life cannot be fixed. Some losses do not come with second chances, and some battles were
He's right to an extent, right? Like some things in life can't be fixed, but only once you screw up enough to the point of no return. And the whole second chances thing, it really depends on why you messed up the first time around, right? Like for the less serious stuff, you can kind of bounce back, or even if it's a financial mistake, you can bounce back from that. But obviously, if you commit crimes or whatever, right? Then depending on the crime, there won't be a second chance. Like if you're a PDF file, for example, there's no second chances from that. And I hope that the inmates really mess with that PDF file once he's thrown in prison. But if it's like financial issues or whatever, there's always a way to bounce back from it.
already lost long before you even knew. you were fighting the goddamn battle in the first place. And people will tell you bullshit refrains like work harder, change things.
And here's the other problem, right? Like, he's giving himself so many negative thoughts that he's creating this self-fulfilling prophecy that he's just going to continue failing, right? Like, one of the pillars of success is to minimize the amount of negative thoughts that you have going on in your head, because when you have negative thoughts, it's going to distract you and you're going to use those negative thoughts as a reason why something didn't go your way, or as to why you failed on a project or with a business or just at your job or whatever, right? You want to minimize the amount of negative thoughts that go on in your head. Now, I'm not talking about this whole toxic positivity thing where you want to be positive all the time. And it's okay to be negative once in a while and to have your doubts, but to just go in with a mindset like his is the reason why he's in his 40s stuck in the situation that he's in, right?
Do the right thing. Life will eventually work out and even out, reach equilibrium. But it doesn't have to. That's not how this works. That's not how life has to work. You can do everything right and still just fucking lose. Nobody owes you anything, not even if you earned it. Not even if you earned it multiple times over. You don't get to decide in life that it's fair. Sometimes the only thing you do get to decide is how you respond, and even that is not guaranteed or granted to you. You can yell at the sky and demand justice that will never come, and first,
Yeah, I mean, some things are out of your control, like where you're born, right? Completely out of your control. If you're born to a lower class family and you're born in like a trashy neighborhood, a trashy country, then yeah, you're being dealt a bad set of hands. But there are people who have climbed out from that very situation. It just really depends, right? It's like in poker, it depends on how you play that hand, right? You can be dealt a bad hand and still bluff your way through life to the point where you no longer have to bluff, or you just get better hands in the future. Whereas there's people who came from privileged positions, they were born to a wealthier family, but then they still somehow managed to screw it up and go broke and homeless or living paycheck to paycheck at around their 30s, 40s, or whatever, because they were too complacent with the life that they were comfortable with. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's unfair, but there's ways to work around it, and you can still screw up even if you were born in a privileged position.
the world for its indifference, but the sky and the world doesn't give a shit. The world doesn't care at all. And
The world doesn't
fairness is
care.
not coming to save you. Fairness is a myth, and no one is keeping score. There's no referee looking out for you. The universe doesn't owe you a goddamn thing. But in that realization, there can be some kind of a strange freedom within it. Because if the world does not care, then you don't need to wait around for it to care. You're free to live your life on your own terms insofar as you can without waiting for permission, without expectation of fairness. You might not be able to fix the system or make things right, but you can choose to some degree how you exist within this framework of chaos and unfairness. What you do with this truth, it's just ultimately up to you. But worse than sitting around lamenting an unfair world is just wasting your life, never doing anything, and just being disappointed and upset.
Okay. At least his message towards the end was decent. He's basically saying to not waste away your life complaining about the uncontrollables. So there's that at least. But let's look at the comments. I got bored with hating life, so now I just embrace the absurdity. All right, that's one way of putting it. 100% true. I'm going through it myself. I'm miserable every day and it's just getting harder. I feel for you. Truth hurts, maybe not as much as jumping on a bicycle with the seat missing, but it hurts. Oh God, why would you want to jump on a bicycle with the seat missing? That's impossible anyways, right? You can't really do that, and odds are you're probably going to lose your balance. Slight tangent, but let's see what else. One thing I have learned about the world slash universe not owing you anything is that you don't owe the world or universe anything better. I feel ya. 43 here and worked my ass off for everything I have, which is barely everything or barely anything. Single alone with no kids. Well, yeah, I mean, that's just life for you, right? Especially because a lot of these 40-year-olds were young adults during the first recession in 2008. So it's easy to be put in that position where you're in your 40s and struggling in life because of, like I said, the financial crash in 2008, right? Like a lot of them were young adults, probably got laid off from their jobs, took a couple of years to recover from that. And then even though they're a little older, they were still screwed by the pandemic as well, right? By all the lockdowns, people lost their jobs through the lockdowns, and it's been hard to recover ever since. So, yeah, there's some truth to what this guy's saying, but I don't know, man, to just have this self-fulfilling prophecy of why life isn't fair and go through this mindset of because everything's unfair, should just take it as it is. There's ways to stack the deck in your favor. So, what are your thoughts?